What's up guys, Eric Prey, Focus Fishing Guide Service, Table Rock Fishing Intel. Got another video fishing report for you for Table Rock Lake. It is Tuesday, August the 18th. Okay, we'll go 18th. Pretty much been on the water every day for the last 7 days. Seen some changes good, some changes bad. Lots of things mixing up right now. As far as our lake level is concerned, we are at 916.58. which puts us just under a half foot low for normal summer pool. Of course, still running a little bit of water, but they've really pretty much shut the current off, just meeting power demands in the afternoon. Beaver's just under 3 feet high, so they're still draining it down, basically using that extra water to generate power with. And Bull Shoals is 21 feet high, so steadily dropping, but taking a lot longer than I'm sure the folks down at Bull Shoals would like. Water temperature 82 to 84, pretty much all over the lake. I'm at the James today. We made it up to about Hideaway and we saw about 84, 85 up there, but it's pretty much the same all over this end of the lake. It's all about 84, 85. Yesterday at the dam area I was seeing around 82, 83, so that's going to be pretty consistent. Bite today was kind of tough, to be honest with you. We kind of had a little flurry there. We caught 3 or 4 or 5, just boom, 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 drop shot in some trees, but then it seemed like the wind changed directions, something happened, and it got tough for the last couple of hours of the trip. But if you guys are coming down, say you're going to fish the lower end of the lake, I definitely got 2 solid bites, 1 emerging bite down there. You definitely want to have a topwater tied on. It's still not great, but we are catching a few more fish on a topwater every morning since they've shut the water off. Most of the fish I'm catching on top have been relating to flatter points, flatter main lake, and secondary points is where I've been catching most of my topwater fish. Catching a few back in some of the creek arms around some of the treetops, but most of them have been on flatter points. Drop shot bite's still pretty strong down there. I personally have been doing a lot better fishing out of deep trees and some of the creek arms. Most of the fish been around 20 to 25 foot deep over trees that top off around 30 and about 50 to 60. I've got 3 or 4 little creek arms that I've been doing really well in for at least the first couple hours every morning. Some of the other guides have been catching them still out on gravel flats, gravel runouts. It's kind of hard to keep up with those fish though, because one day they'll be up in like 22, 24. Next day they'll be out to about 32, so you got to do a lot of searching to find those fish and be successful with those fish. The other bite, we are catching them on a swim bait down there. Started to catch them pretty good on that Jack and Jaw swim bait with the Jewel Pee-wee football head, mostly on gravel runouts, gravel points. Starting to see a few fish show up out doing that, so keep that in mind. And it's not great yet, but we are catching a few fish every day, scrubbing that grub, keeping the boat about 25, and most of the bites are coming between 15 and 20 foot deep with that swim bait on the Pee-wee football jig head. And go up into the mid-lake area, a lot of bites working in the mid-lake. It's amazing. It's always this way every year, but it always amazes me how you get away from the boat traffic and all the other population down on the lower end and you even get just to Kimberling City, and it can make a huge difference on how many fish you catch. You definitely want to have a topwater tied on, spook, Sammy, whopper, plopper. They've been coming up a little bit better in the Kimberling City area. Same sort of deal, mostly on gravel flat points, either on the main lake or back in the creeks. You can catch them on a swim bait up there as well. Same deal. Jack and Jaws 3.3 on either a 5/16 or 7/16 Jewel Pee-wee football jig, scrubbing it on those gravel points and gravel flats, anywhere from about 15 to 18 foot deep as 20 once the sun comes up. Catching them on a drop shot. Again, I'm doing better in trees than I am anywhere else, no matter where I am on the lake. Definitely catching more fish out of those deeper trees. Most of the fish 20 to 25, a little bit deeper when the sun comes out, but over trees that top out about 30 and about 50 to 60 foot of water. Catch them on a spoon as well. Doing a couple of different spoon deals right now. You can catch them on the worldwide spoon, flipping docks, You're not going to load the boat, but it seems like the fish you catch fishing those bigger docks, those bigger community and condo docks, are going to be better quality. Catching fish doing that, and I've been catching quite a few fish throwing a jewel scuba spoon and just casting it out, looking for fish on my live scope or seeing fish bust shad, throw it out and just kind of pop it as I'm retrieving it and pop it as I retrieve it. Catching several fish doing that. Let me rephrase that. I'm hooking several fish doing that. My catch ratio is at about 30% because usually those fish are 100 to 150 feet out in front of me. So it's kind of hard to get a real good hook set. I'm working on that. Got another idea for that, but have been catching them casting a spoon quite a bit. And then we are starting to see a few show up on a football jig. Caught a few the other day on a peewee football jig on those gravel and rock mix points, almost transition type stuff where it goes from that big rock all the way down to the small rock and gravel, anywhere from about 15 to 20 foot deep. It's not great yet, but you can certainly tell that we do have fish that are starting to think about fall and starting to move up a little bit. So keep that in mind, especially if we have these milder temperatures all week. I think that bite's probably going to be a lot better by the weekend. Come up into the James River where I am today. I'm not going to lie, we had a pretty tough day today. We did not catch them very good at all. We started the day throwing a buzzbait and a whopper plopper shallow. Just wanted to see if that bite was working. Had several pull downs on a buzzbait, had one fish on a whopper plopper and a couple other bites on it. I don't know if it was the weather or what it was, but it just seemed like they're real close and just not quite there yet. But we were fishing steeper, rocky banks, kind of channel swing stuff back in the creeks and paralleling anywhere from the bank out to about 10 feet outside of the bank. So we were catching a few doing that. I caught one before my client showed up, just tied up to the dock, had I think 3 or 4 more pull downs, had one hooked up and he came unbuttoned. He did catch one on a whopper plopper and had 2 or 3 other bites. So that is a bite that's, we're probably a little early, but that bite is something you're going to see happening here before too much longer. Football jig has been a pretty strong bite. By the time we decided to switch up to a football jig, we started having this 15 to 25 mile an hour gust, so it made it kind of tough to feel that bite. But any of those gravel mixed with rock, both main lake and secondary points, we have been catching a few on a peewee football jig and the Jewel heavy cover football jig. Most of them are 15 to 20. Bluebird sky like today, you might have to go out to about 25, but you can definitely catch them doing that. And then the spoon bite, the same deal with that river to sea worldwide spoon around some of the bigger docks, especially Ants Creek. We're catching them around Ants. We're catching them up in Woolley and some of those bigger docks. You can certainly catch them pitching that spoon into dock slips as well. Go up into the White River, you know, have a topwater tied on. I'm going to tell you that for every part of the lake, every arm of the lake. Sooner or later, this topwater bite's going to bust loose. So a lot more fish busting today. Caught a lot, or had a lot more bites on a buzzbait and a whopper plopper than I've had. So that bite is getting close, and the topwater bite is going to get better as this water cools off. So keep that in mind. Spook, Sammy, whopper plopper, buzzbait if you're so inclined. Drop shot bite strong up the White. We actually ran up to around Baxter and caught a few on a drop shot a little bit later in the morning. Kind of had a good flurry there. Had about 5 or 6 in a row, and then I broke one off in a tree. He hit me and went right down into a tree. Felt like a much better fish, and he went down and kind of wrapped me up and broke me off down in there. But definitely have a drop shot with a shad-shaped cut tail, UV drop shot worm or Chomper's drop shot worm. Then same with the swim bait deal up there. Throwing the Jack and Joss 3.3 on a peewee football jig head, either 5/16 or 7/16, kind of scrubbing the bottom. We did a little bit of that today, had a couple of bites. Felt like they were probably smaller fish, so I know that bite is working. I know we've caught quite a few. I know some of the other guides have been doing really well doing that up the White. And then a jig bite. Just like everywhere else on the lake, we're getting real close to these fish, moving back shallow, starting to use those gravel and gravel mixed with rock points as kind of high off ramps off of the highway to come out of deeper water into the shallow water and start feeding. We just need this water to cool down, and we'll really start to see the football jig bite, and if you're so inclined, to Carolina rig bite probably take off as well. Guys, we are almost through August. Lake's back to normal. Fishing is different, but it's still good. I've had more good trips than tough trips in the last week or so. This was a pretty tough trip today. I think we wound up with 5 or 6 fish is all, with only 2 or 3 keepers. But we tried some different stuff. If we would have hooked up with all the fish we had blow up on the buzzbait and the whopper plopper, we would have had 10 or 12 fish today. So hard to be upset, but still like to catch more fish than 5 or 6 fish in a trip. But guys, you know, if this is one of the reasons why you want to become a member of Table Rock Fishing Intel, because we are going to go through a huge transition change period over the next 30 days, 45 days. We're going to go from the summer pattern that we've been in basically since the end of May to a fall pattern. And then once we get through that fall pattern, we're going to go into a winter pattern. And the best way to stay on top of these pattern changes and to stay on top of the fish is to be a member of Table Rock Fishing Intel. Well, the best way is to be out here every day doing it. But if you can't do that because you have a job or other responsibilities, if you join Table Rock Fishing Intel, we're dropping daily fishing reports. We're putting other features on there. We've got weekly fishing reports. We're working on doing a fishing forecast that'll help you, say you look at it on Thursday and you're fishing the weekend. We're looking to maybe do a fishing forecast as well. But we've got a lot of things going on right now that's worth your money. We've got a lot of things coming in the future. In all honesty, the maps alone are worth your $45 a year, because we've got maps for every season, every part of the lake, everything marked with the different baits that we use day in, day out during that time of year, marked banks showing you where to fish them. But guys, if you haven't checked it out, TableRockFishingIntel.com, definitely need to check that out. Do the one-day membership if you haven't done that already. Search around, see all the cool stuff that you can get. Looks like it's for you. Sign up, $45 a year. You get access to everything. Guys, if you're coming down, want to hire a guide, give me a call. It's Focus Fishing Guide Service. You can reach me at 417-860-4743 or hit my website, focusfishing.com, and either shoot me an email or book online. Either way, I get back to you as soon as I can. Guys, thanks for watching the videos. Can't wait to hear from you. We'll see you on the water.